Hi everyone, Mark here with a special announcement for you. Do you remember a decade ago when LeBron James announced he was taking his talents to South Beach? Well, along the same lines, Alex Nagy and myself will be bringing our mediocre talents to the Motorama Custom Car and Motorsports Expo this weekend. We will be podcasting live tomorrow, April 29th at 6:30 p.m. at the Stone Ridge stage in the Inside Track Racing Zone, which is located in Hall 1B of the International Center, right across from Toronto's Pearson Airport. We know it's short notice, but if you can make it to Motorama tomorrow, come say hi and check out the show. If you can't make it Friday, Motorama will be on all weekend, and there is so much to check out. Saturday alone, you can see the Show Car Class Awards with over 200 vehicles competing. There's also the Miss Motorama Pinup Pageant, interesting. The Fast Eddie Road Racing Night of Champions, and the Hellbent Rockers will also be performing live. You know, I might be slightly put off that I was not nominated to attend the Night of Champions for my big kart win at Niagara Speedway last summer. And also, our band Three Fog was not asked to perform. I am sure that this was an oversight, though. Right, Greg? In any case, it's going to be a beautiful weekend, so why not check out Motorama? Visit motoramashow.com for more information, and we hope to see you there. Now, let's get back to Driver in Deep, episode 52, featuring Josh Stade.
Driver, start your engine! It's time for the Driver in Deep podcast. Driver in Deep. Are you ready?
Hey everyone, and thanks for joining us for the Driver in Deep podcast, episode 52. Once again, brought to you by drivercal.com. Mark here, and of course, in the driver's seat, steering with his knees, is none other than Alex Nagy. So, Nags, what's new?
You sound like my wife. I actually do that. I'm busy while I'm driving. I
Yeah,
just use my knees.
What guy doesn't do that?
Yeah. I used to race like that. Just ask my fellow competitors.
Oh, yeah. Well, like, did you have a toothpick in your mouth, too?
I don't know.
I know you do now.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm just happy to be here with you, man. That's it. Hey, we had a rare occurrence last weekend. I thought I just had a thought. What's that called?
An epiphany?
Sure.
What? I think that's where you were going.
Yeah, sounds good. And it was actually nice weather, and I and our incredible wives had a chance to actually go out and play around the disc golf together finally.
I know. It's been quite a long winter. Last year, I probably went out a dozen times between January and this time of year. But it's not even so much the snow. It's been all the crappy wet weather and all the mud. It just doesn't make it a lot of fun. But we definitely had some great weather to play in on Sunday. The rust definitely showed. But for me anyway, I was pretty happy with my round. I didn't care how many trees I hit. It was such a nice day out there. But it is funny, Alex, and I mentioned this to you when we were out there. When I watch Sandy and Joni play now, I mean, hey, just like everyone else, let's just say they're not always pleased with their own individual results. But the funny thing is, and then this is what I said to you, if they thought back about a year ago, right after they just started, the improvement for both of them is massive.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm sure it's, looking back, I'm sure it's the same for us. When it's like anything, right? When it's you, you don't realize it. But yeah, those two, they're playing well. And, I think that they of course don't want to listen to us. And
no,
that's fine. But our buddy Jeff Klein from True North Disc Golf, he's actually putting on a free clinic this weekend at Christie Lake in the soccer field. And I don't know how to bring it to the girls that maybe they should think about attending and just have some fun. Because I think they'd pick up a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, except Joni has that show in Paris now on Saturday. And otherwise, I think that would be a great idea. And good for Jeff for doing that, because he's not getting paid. He's doing it just because he loves to introduce the sport to other people. And that field at Christie Lake to practice on is awesome. Like, it's my favorite field to practice on.
Heck, who am I kidding? I should be going.
Yeah.
I have time.
Yeah, I know. Well, I can give you a few pointers if you like.
Yeah, like I said, Jess got a clinic.
Did I tell you that Joni got mad at me on Saturday when we went out to La Fortune and played a few holes?
No.
It was pretty funny. I think we were on
I'm
hole.
not surprised. But...
Yeah. Well, generally Joni does not get mad at me, but I think it had something to do with the not listening thing again. We were on, hole 14. And for our listeners, you guys don't know this, or girls, but it goes right along Highway 54. It's a little bit of a short dogleg right. And we were both playing a couple of discs on, cause we only played the center section because it was drier. And right after I finished playing that hole, I made a comment about how, I'm at the point now where I should never bogey this hole anymore.
Right.
The problem is that Joni, and this is the part I didn't hear, just had finished saying how she just bogeyed the hole. And I never heard her. I mean,
she always tells me you never listen.
I think I was upwind or something. I don't know. But then right after she said that, she heard my comment about how I should never bogey the hole. And, she said, well, what do you think about my game then? And I'm like, oh no, I already stepped in it here. But the truth is, and like I just said, both Joni and Sandy have improved a ton over the past year. And so have we, because we play a lot more now too. So,
absolutely.
I think we set the bar higher.
Yeah, I don't know. Judging by the way they get mad now on a shitty shot, I'm not sure they could set the bar any lower, to be honest, which is great.
Well, like they say, you don't know what you don't know. And over the last year, we've both spent a lot of time learning, right. The theory and different mechanics and things like that. And, they're getting there too. But they don't want to listen to us. So, good luck with you recommending Jeff.
I'll figure a way to tell him nicely.
Yeah. On another topic though, I have to tell you, I think I owe Joel Robinson an apology.
Oh?
Well, when we had him on the podcast, I think the majority of our discussion was about either, the Leafs / Sabres non-rivalry, and also
right.
our comments about the Blue Jays having a great team this year. And I know you told me that he's a big Raptors fan, and we even talked about it, but I feel like we really didn't do the Raptors any justice, especially after watching them last night, to fight back and stay alive in their series.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess maybe we talked about how much of a super fan he is, but maybe we didn't talk about the Raps very much.
Yeah.
But for me, unlike Joel Robinson, I don't watch a lot of basketball, at least not very often, but I do follow along, especially the Raptors and all the drama with the Phillies and Simmons and all those non-wanting to play bastards that just drive me crazy, which is probably why I can't watch it half the time. It's a different athlete. They're incredible, but they I don't know. So that's a different topic. I'll leave it there before I get in trouble. But anyways.
Well, hang on. I do want to say this though about the Raptors is that, that's a team that grinds it out. They never give up. That attitude is what, other teams should study that because they really had no business coming back in this series, except for the fact they got their rookie of the year who's fighting injury problems, Scotty Barnes, right?
Yeah.
And he finds a way to get in the lineup and they make it 3-1 and now it's 3-2 and the guy's hobbling out there. But then you see like Kyrie Irving, who is a disaster, who, the Nets are down 3-0 and he's like, well, you know what? I don't think I can work my way back into the lineup. That just shows you the difference in mentality. And I don't know if that comes top down from the organization or what, but I'll tell you.
You're a product of your environment, man. And the reason I like the Raptors is because of Nick Nurse. I love his approach, love his attitude.
Yeah.
Players do anything for him, don't matter who you are, including when Kawhi was here, superstar that, was one of those athletes that played whatever, but he paid attention too, and they won a championship. And now, what do you play this year? 2 games for LA or something. So it's just bizarre how all those guys operate, but
I know
you're right. It'd be awesome to see the Raptors, nobody's come back from a 3-0 deficit and here we are now 3-2 and maybe it should have been 3-3. They probably give one away, but I think it's awesome.
Well, and you know what? I think they think they're going to win. And that's great because I don't know if you saw the clip of Embiid there, who is, going to Drake. We're going to sweep you guys. We're going to sweep you guys. Yeah. I don't know if he thinks that they're going to even win now.
Yeah, but, no, it's, hey, I don't know if they'll make it all the way back, but
I'd like to see it though. I really would. It's not my number one sport, but I'll watch any sport, especially a local sport where, you know that these guys are giving it everything they have. And for me, Alex, overall, it's been a great sports week. First I had Toronto Maple Leafs gave up a touchdown and a 2-point conversion against Tampa.
Hey, did you see the game the day after that? Tampa played the best team in the league.
Who was that? Florida Panthers. And how they make it?
The same thing against them too. Just thought I'd bring that up. Well,
I'm just saying, 8-1. Wow.
Yeah, same thing. 8 goals against the Panthers too.
Yeah.
It's because none of these games. I know you're going to probably spout off now about
the Sabres 4-game winning streak.
But again, like that Sabres games and the Leaf games and the Panthers games, there's only 2 teams that any games matter to right now, and that's Las Vegas and Dallas. Other than that, none of them mean anything. Next week is when the real show starts.
I don't even know what to say if Las Vegas doesn't make the playoffs.
Oh, I love it.
With Robin Leonard and Jack Eichel there. Although Eichel hasn't said a word in the media, so good for him. He's trying to move on.
He's afraid to because they're beating the crap out of him in the media. Yeah. Social media, they're killing him because they know he's a flop, just like he was in Buffalo.
And what about Leonard? He was the biggest problem that they had in Buffalo. They always gave up the soft goal, and then
the fact that they kept him over Fleury just tells you. Everybody give what's his nuts there, the GM, all these kudos for all the stuff they pulled off. That franchise to me is a franchise everybody wants to see fail already because they they discard players like they're candy, could care less. Mm-hmm. It was the big destination, and now I think players are at the point where they're afraid to go there because they don't even know if they'll matter. Dadonov, they traded him illegally, got it shoved back in their face, and if it wasn't for him sucking it up and going back, they wouldn't even be within 4 points of anybody.
It's a good thing.
That guy deserves all the credit in the world, and I hope that he finishes off real strong, and I hope that the Vegas Knights flop.
Yeah, I don't see a good outcome. As a matter of fact, I can see a very steep decline because I don't think things are going to get any better in the off season for these guys. But anyway, Bo Bichette hit his first career Grand Slam against the Red Sox to win last night.
Yeah, I was surprised it was his first one. I thought he would have had one last year, but it's another team that got some important injuries already, and they're still scrambling. And I think their bullpen's underrated. And
I had to laugh because Dave Portnoy was at the game because he's promoting his sports book in Ontario now, and they showed a video of Bichette's Grand Slam, and it's just his reaction, right? Because everything for him is about New England sports.
Oh yeah.
I think he's already given up on the Red Sox for the year. That's typical, though.
Yeah. Well, the Red Sox, we'll see. American League East will be tough. But
for sure.
We'll see. All good stuff, and all gets back to hard work. And speaking about hard working, our guest today is none other than Josh Stade, who is a late model standout here in Ontario. He's from Chesley, Ontario, as a matter of fact. And not only is he ultra talented, I met him and his family actually at Jukasa for the first time about 5 years ago. And they've been customers ever since, of course, and seen them around at different races all over the province. And good, hard-working family. They're just professional. I like Josh. I think we talked about him with Jamie Maudsley as the best team driver not to win an APC Series event yet. It's not going to be long, I don't think.
Is that going to come up in our conversation, perhaps?
Oh, probably.
Yeah. Okay, well, why don't we get him on here?
Sounds good.
You can find Josh on Facebook at Stade Motorsports 17 or on Twitter at Primetime Stade or on Instagram by searching Stade 17. And here he is from Chelsea, Ontario, Primetime Josh Stade. Welcome to Driver in Deep, Josh.
Yeah, thanks. Pretty pumped to be on with you guys. I listen to you every week, so it's always nice to talk to new faces. Happy to be here.
You got a lot to talk about too, buddy. First off, prime time. Who gave you that nickname? Or how'd that come about?
Yeah, we were sitting in an Applebee's in Barrie, and Spencer Lewis and I had a pretty good relationship at that point. I was running Sunset quite a bit.
Right.
And he knew I played a bit of hockey, and he says, "Oh, we're going to call you Top Shelf Stade." And I said, "No, I don't like that, blah, blah, blah." And he says, "Well, you're kind of coming into your prime. How about prime time?" I was like, "Oh, that sounds pretty cool." And then after that night, it just kind of stuck.
Awesome. I think I knew it was Spencer. I just wasn't sure how it came about. That's awesome. And I said you got, a lot of stuff to be going on. And of course, congratulations is in order with the new addition to your family. You just had a baby boy, you and Bailey. And of course, you have a young daughter as well. So things must be getting crazy around the household.
Yeah, things are busy, but we've always kind of had a busy family. My little sister is also expecting tomorrow. So nice. Yeah, we stay fairly busy.
Yeah, congrats again. Josh, you work at the family business. You have 2 young kids, and you're a race car driver / team owner. I mean, that alone should keep you out of trouble. But going back to the beginning of your race career, I see you started fairly young in racing, like so many of our other guests. And for you, it was in the mini truck division. But where your path maybe is a little bit different is what you hopped into directly from the mini trucks. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, when I was a kid, obviously my dad raced, and anyone that's around the sport knows it's in your blood. So, I mean, I would have been racing sooner if it was up to me, but it took a lot of years of bugging the crap out of my dad. And one day we came home from school, me and my older sister, and he said, I've been looking at these quarter scale trucks, and would you guys be interested? I said, yeah, absolutely. Let's go. So we kind of dove in both feet. I raced them for 4 years. And then I had an opportunity. I was kind of 15, turning 16, and a local racer here ran the All-Star Series, Tyler Williams. He had another late model in the garage, and him and my dad were having a whiskey. And he says, if you guys wanted to race it, he says, throw a motor in it, have the car, and take it out. So at that point, my dad has been around racing his whole life. He knows it's a lifestyle. So I was still in high school at this time. He came over to me and he says, we have an opportunity to race late model. Do you want to do it? And I said, yes, absolutely. Let's go. And he says, no, he says, I'm going to give you 2 weeks to think about it. And then you come back with a decision. He's like, you're going to miss birthday parties, weddings, proms if we dive into this thing. And I said, okay. So I went back about 2 days later. I said, yeah, I thought about it and I'm still keen. Let's go. So we kind of we dove in both feet, and I had a different upbringing. Like I see a lot of guys that we race against, they kind of take their spot. My biggest thing was I just wanted to learn. So I wanted the respect of the other drivers. I didn't want to be creating havoc, if you will. So I started out at Salvo, racing against Jason Parker and Tom Gibbons, obviously Scott McTeer, all those big name guys. And Tyler at that time was still racing, and Danny Wright. There was a lot of competitive guys at Salvo. Like at that time, there was like 25, 28 limited lates. So I said, you know what, we're going to start scratch until we're comfortable to take our position. And that's what we did for the first year. I just started scratch, and we just, just got more seat time and got more comfortable with it. And then, I've had a lot of great opportunities along the way. One that has to do with Luke Ramsey. That kind of was a big eye opener in my career. But yeah, that's basically how I got started in late model, and I haven't looked back since.
I have to say something here. Alex, I stand corrected.
Really? You admit fault?
Well, I have said in the past that nothing ever good comes from drinking whiskey, because every time I drink whiskey with you, I can tell you that's true. But clearly here for Josh, that's not the case, because that's how he started in a late model.
Maybe his dad just drinks whiskey better than you.
Well, I think a lot of people drink whiskey better than me. I'm not going to lie there.
Well, that's a great story. And, the fact that you were warned, not warned or told what to expect, you don't always get that. When you get an opportunity like that, you jump right in, and probably you would have if somebody didn't say, hold on a sec here, just take a minute and think this through. Well, although you didn't take all the time that was allotted, I think that's the best. I think that's a great approach. And yeah, as far as earning respect, I could see that with you, that you're almost always quiet out there, not in a negative way, just you're one of those guys that races with respect all the time and for the most part gets it back. But I think that's well deserved. And you mentioned your dad, Duane, and he carved the way for you in the race business, of course. And he's still involved because your team, like so many others, is a total family operation. And I know you both would call Sabres Speedway your home track, your original home track. And it's always nice to go back there with the APC series still, I'm sure, for you folks. But when did you start to move around to other speedways, Josh? When was that?
Yeah. So, I guess if we're going back a little bit, so I had mentioned Luke kind of got my big thing. So
Right.
we're running Tyler's car. And I ran it for 2 years, and, it was an old chassis. It was like an 80s. It was heavy. It would do 15 sixes at Salvo, and that was all you're going to get out of it. It was a good stepping stone for me. So anyways, we were, Luke was opening an APC store in Owen Sound, and they always did the Beat the Heat 150 up at the beach. And Luke had called us. Obviously we had the relationship because we owned 2 of the Auto Parts Center stores as well. And,
Right.
and he said, I've got this 00 Pro Late down here. It's a McCall chassis. And he says, if you come down to Dorchester, pick it up and take it to the open house in Owen Sound, I'll let you race it at Beat the Heat. I'll put the tires on it. But if you wreck it, you buy it. So
Nice.
at this point, I was 17, and really I was in okay equipment, but I had never been in great equipment, if you will. So I got in. I went down. I was 17 years old, trailer down by myself. I think at that point, Jamie Cox and all the guys down there. Artie was a big help that
Right.
weekend. Artie Gemmel helped me tremendously. Anyways, we went out and we didn't really know what a Pro Late was all about. We took it into our shop. We did all the maintenance, and we wanted to be prepared, as we always are. And we took it out for a Tuesday practice before the store. So I called Luke and I said, hey, what's a good lap time at Sauble with these cars? And he says, if you're doing 14.4s or 14.5s, I think at that time, you're doing pretty good. And I said, okay, well, I'm doing 14.3s. And he says, there's no way, Josh. There's no way you're doing 14.3s. And I said, I wouldn't be lying about the stopwatch, but anyways, we were doing 14.3s.
Nice.
So we went out and, we took it to the show and we brought it back and we started the race and we were top qualifier. I can remember I passed Jason Shaw on the outside and then I passed Gary Elliott on the inside, and I never led a race. So I got way too excited and I went about 4 car lengths up in the corner and they ended up passing me back with 2 to go. And I finished 3rd.
Oh,
So
when you
then-
said you got way high in the corner going too fast, I thought that's when you're going to say you bought the car.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely crossed my mind once you get in the marbles with something like that. But, so it was kind of a neat story. It was David, they put the car together for David Rudiman, when he came and ran Delaware.
Oh, yeah.
So I got in this car. Well, at that point, David Rudiman was quite a bit taller than me. So we had like three 2-inch pieces of wood taped to the pedals just so I could reach them. Like, it was very uncomfortable, but the car was fast. So we started the second heat, like dead last. So we came and they were just 10-lap heats. So I had Jason Shaw and Jason Parker and Gary Elliott and I think Dave Elliott. And, there were some pretty big names in the heat anyways. There's 4 different heats. There was all kinds of cars. So anyways, we got to the last lap. Well, it was for the lead with 1 corner to go, and I bumped Jason Parker out of the way and I got my first heat win. So the thing was, we were the top qualifier. So then it was after that race, basically what had happened is we ran 5th the whole race. We boiled the brakes. We went a lap down, we got a lap back, and then we ended up finishing 11th. And then it was at that point, Duane and I kind of said, you know what, we're invested now. I think we have a driver. We're capable of doing this. So we had actually went over to Howe in Michigan and bought a car. So we bought this car and we started getting competitive. We were fast. I mean, the guys at the track obviously didn't like seeing a different style car. So I got picked on quite a bit. No one liked the Fords at Salvo. So I got picked on for that, but that was about 2011. I got my first, feature win at Salvo. There was 25 cars. Andrew Camrath was one of them. Schreiner, there was all kinds of competition. So I won my first feature. We were buzzing pretty good and they kicked me out for being an 8th low on the left front. I led by a straightaway and they, had kicked me out for being an 8th low. So anyways, they took it away from me. but we were fast. We were getting competitive. And then it was about 2013. I said, I think Sunset's got a special. I said, we're kind of having fun with this. And I think we're getting better with our program. We should go over and run this special as the Velocity Weekend.
Right.
So that was really the stepping stones of when we started traveling. We went to Sunset. I mean, the officials were great. I think for us, that's really what did it. We felt like we were at home. Saab always did a great job, but we'd never traveled anywhere. So we got there. We're going through tech. Dilly kind of took us in with open arms, as he always does. And all the officials, they were giving us a good time. And we just said, if they're going to run more specials, we're going to be a part of this. So at that point, we were running a car that had a 9-inch rear end. So we were doing 4 and 5 specials at Sunset. Well, man, it was such a pain pulling the axles and changing gears. And so it wasn't much fun doing that, but we soon after that got a quick change and we started traveling. We did autumn colors and it really helped us. I got a lot more experience moving around.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Hey, Josh, when the United Racing Series started the APC Late Model Tour, your team went that route and really have been there ever since. What attracted you to the series at the time? And can you tell us how it's evolved, even though it's still in fairly young existence right now?
Yeah. So, obviously I think at that time, limited lates they were on the verge. Pro lates were either going to die or limited lates were going to die. And, for us, there was only really 2 tracks that we were running, which was Sunset and Sauble, and we could do Peterborough at the end of the year. So at that time, Andrew Gressel had a pro late. I was helping him out a little bit, and the thing had come up for sale. And I said to my old man, I said, it's almost cheap enough if we wanted to try it. We've got another motor in the shop. Why don't we just try it for a year? And if we like it, we'll go this route. And if not, well, obviously we've been around Luke and his team quite a bit, know all the guys he's got a great team there. So, it was a pretty easy decision for us to make. And on another note, I had self-market everything. So I do all my self-marketing. I went out and found the extra sponsorship to kind of make it happen. And we got involved and we've been there ever since. It's been great. The guys, they have a vision. They always have since day one, and they're always trying to better the sport. And, it's been a fun ride.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Mark said, it's still fairly new. At the same time, we've all seen, different series come and go, never have the staying power for whatever reason. When things are, there's always that big spike at the beginning, there's growth. And then when things get hard, sometimes people give up on stuff or people get whining and crying and it goes away. But with these guys, it hasn't. And, the growth has been phenomenal. I think, like you said, just the program continues to get better. They try to be better all the time, which is all you can ask for a professional series. And I think that they're giving the folks that for sure. I know at Jacasa, it was probably, as far as traveling series goes, it was the most competitive, reasonable, good people to work with, and great car counts. It was a no-brainer for a racetrack, I can tell you that. But the cool thing about it is also, Josh, that you can still go to some weekly shows. You can go to various specials around the province, like Velocity and Frosttoberfest or Drysdale Triple Crown. I mean, Peterborough at the end of the year, like you say, the autumn colors. There's so many things you can still do. So it's I just think that the whole setup
makes sense,
lends itself to a good program. So, and I'm sure, and you take advantage of all those things. You do all those different things too.
Yeah, I do. I was stuck at Sauble for a long. I wouldn't say stuck. I love Sauble. I always will. I got my first 2 late model championships there. I was very involved with the track. Me and the old man and a couple of the other racers organized work days where we would get, 50 volunteers. You never want to see your track die. So we were always there trying to improve it the best we can, whether it be, we built a pit pad. Jason Parker kind of updated all the washrooms in the pits, and then we did the spotter stand. So we were very involved with Sauble, always have been. But then when you start traveling, you start realizing, every track is the same. Everyone has great people. Caselli has always treated me really well. JP at Peterborough, I haven't gone that way. It's really a long haul for me. I'm 4.5, 5 hours to get there. But he's always treated me great. Same with the Delaware, staff and everyone there. I mean, I've always been treated great where I go. And that's basically what I mean, when I go to the track on a Friday night to camp, I mean, I'm dealing with shit all the time, with work, you know,
Right.
When you get 62 guys on the road and equipment and everything, your mind is going all the time. So I feel like when we get to the track on a Friday, the weight's off our shoulders and we're here to have a good time, just like all the other hardworking people. That's just what we live to do. So yeah, it's been, I do take advantage, but I mean, I feel like I'm a little different in the sense of some other drivers. You know, I hear all the time, must be nice, you know, Stade's money. Well, no, Stade chases the money. You know, I've never been keen on sitting still and not getting the sponsorship. I have a lot of great people that support me, and we have a huge networking circle, and we try to better everyone with both the racing and in business. So there's lots of money to be had out there, but you got to chase it. You can't sit around waiting for it to come to you.
Speaking of money and sponsorships, you just recently announced a new partnership with Ridgeline Lubricants for your team. First of all, congratulations. I know that is a very big deal. And last weekend, the United Racing Series held their first annual media day / practice at Delaware Speedway with G-Force TV there, and they were doing various things for their upcoming broadcasts. And I know this is a bit of a long 2-part question, but can you tell us a little bit about your new partnership with Ridgeline Lubricants and the importance of days like last weekend to begin your partnership off? And does the fact that all of the APC Late Model Series races are now streamed worldwide, did that factor into your deal with Ridgeline?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ridgeline was something that I started working on with another guy late last fall. It's definitely had its challenges in the way that I've never had a corporate sponsorship. So there was contracts, that I had to write. But ultimately worked on it all winter long. And then I was in Florida for Speed Weeks and basically got the go ahead. Well, I was buzzing pretty good. That was a pretty big deal for us. Ultimately because Ridgeline is a product that I believe in for my equipment. Like I use all their lubricants in my heavy equipment and my fleet and everything like that. And when I believe in a product, it's even better suite for me to advertise for it. You know what I mean? So, not only is Ridgeline a great sponsor, I have a fully, the Canadian Flat Roof is a primary sponsor on the other car. So, days like last week are definitely important. They're very hard for me, scheduling wise, because we are running a business. I am working 15, 16-hour days and then doing my race program. So it's very busy and I couldn't do it without the people that surround me. I mean, I have a great team. So a prime example is we did the media day at Delaware on the Saturday. We were at the truck show from Wednesday night. We had to set up Wednesday afternoon. So we had the truck show Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then I had to split off, go load the car Friday to go to Delaware for the test day, drive the rig down Saturday morning, do the test, the media day, and then drive home. So it took half the crew had to go to Toronto, pick up the car, and the other half of the crew went with me to Delaware to do the test.
Yeah, absolutely. And I visited on Saturday as well, and I thought G-Force did a great job. They're in it for the right reasons, man. They're doing it the right way. And the stuff they did with you folks for the media and the spots for their broadcast, I think was incredible. And I think it's important, you know, for the future growth of teams and what they do, plus the streaming is important for growth of teams, series, and speedways. There's so many, you know, there's always been negativity initially about streaming and how it affects your crowd or this or that, but there's so many positives that outweigh the negatives that I think it's almost a moot point now for anybody that's involved. So, you know, and speaking of Delaware, they recently did some improvements in the fall last year, and I just wonder what you thought of it, how it was received. It looked, to anything I heard, seemed fairly positive. But was there much difference for you, your team, the car? Just how did you find track with the changes?
Yeah, you know, ultimately I went there. I just wanted to shake the car down. I wanted to make sure there's no leaks, nothing was loose. I really never intended on testing as hard as I did, but I got out there, and they had set up some pylons to get some rubber on the new asphalt, and I thought, you know, I feel like I could drive it harder. So I just kind of kept driving it harder and harder. And once some rubber got down there, I thought, you know, this is It's pretty racy. It's definitely got its challenges. I mean, when you go from the new asphalt to the old cement, there's a lot of time to be had on just how you enter the corner, I felt. So that was our biggest thing that we focused on, was how do we get into one and off of two? I wasn't doing it as great as the other guys, but I felt like when we left practice, I had learned to pile. I do want to step back though, like you had said about the G-Force. So a prime example of them and their coverage. My Ridgeline sponsorship, I have marketing people that I'm dealing with that live in Miami. One of the directors, Tom, he lives in, I think Colorado. So these are like, it's a perfect platform. They can't get over here to necessarily see a race unless they fly in. So they can watch the coverage of G-Force. And I think there's something to be said about G-Force's work. You watch NASCAR on TV. Yeah, it's great. But I feel like G-Force's coverage, because I obviously go back and watch races and see, where did I go wrong or what could I do better? And the coverage that they do and the interviews and everything, like they do a great job. Like hats off to those guys. So, the Delaware definitely has its challenges. I feel like it's going to be a spot where you're going to learn every time you go there. Which is great. That's how it should be. With some of the characters still there, I think it's it was a great compromise, if you will. I like it. I think how they did it in the fall, I was there visiting, and I to myself thought, it's easy for me to say that now, of course, but to myself, I thought what I saw Saturday is exactly what I thought or hoped would happen. So that's awesome. And you mentioned G-Force, and I think it would be missing something very important by not also including the APC series, the United Racing Series, in with that, because it doesn't just happen for free. And people are spending a lot of energy and a lot of money to make that happen. And I think it's for the benefit of people like yourself and everybody else I mentioned. So a lot of positives. I think it's really, really good. And just quickly, I know, you talked about your race wins and championships at Sauble, and you moved to a top series, which is definitely harder. So it should be. And, you always race at the front. You're always knocking on the door. If I wouldn't have, checked my thoughts, I would have never even guessed that you haven't won an APC series race yet, because I think we talked about it with Jamie Maudsley a few weeks ago, and you're probably the fastest, best team never to win one of those races yet. And it doesn't even make sense. And it's not a negative, but it's not being negative, because you guys are champions and thought of as highly regarded as anybody out there. So, but how hard is it? And I'm sure you're really, really looking forward to getting that win and a championship. Yeah. I mean, as for the championship, I've never really kind of chased that. Even when I joined the series, I never was really like, we're going after a championship. And I'll tell you why. In 2015, I was leading the championship, and it's probably the worst thing that could have happened to me, because then I started racing different, and I had a big points lead on Jason Parker. And, I'd have nights where I was running third or fourth, and I would just settle because I'm like, I can't have a bad points night, risking it to pass for second. And it almost got away from me. And then, we were 2 nights left in the season, and I said, we got to go and we got to win this race. And that's what we did. We went out and won the race. Well, the last night we were fighting all night long. We had 2 features that night, and I only won it by 1 point. So I got too caught up in doing the championship thing. Ultimately, we want to win every week we go out. It is hard. These guys, there's no slouches in this series. And I think that's what makes it great for APC. They have guys like there's 20 different cars that could win every night, or anyone that shows up. And you got to think, like, these aren't broken down race cars. These are, there's a lot of new pieces and new technology and updated stuff. Like, there's always something changing, and someone's always raising the mark. I think for us is just trying to take out any factor, from the week to week stuff that is in our hands, like the brake jobs and the bearings and stuff like that. If we can take that factor out and have the maintenance program down, and just be there. I just always wanted to be there. I don't need to be the fastest guy. And I kind of race along the lines, if someone's knocking on my door, and this is what drives me crazy about other drivers, but if someone's knocking on my door and I'm running third, I'm thinking, okay, pass me, go race the guy, because you're hot and you're horny, and hopefully you're going to dump that guy, and I'm sitting in first now. you two are going to the back.
Yeah, or wear your shit out, you know.
Sort of like what
especially
happened
if
to
it's
Kyle
early.
Busch last weekend.
Yeah, exactly. And you see, I mean, even you see a lot of guys where they run the first 20 laps as hard as they can. You can just almost see them burning the back tires off, and you're thinking, okay, yeah, keep doing what you're doing. And then eventually it catches up with them and you pass them. So, yeah, we try to stay positive and we try to work as hard, or if not harder than anyone else. But yeah, it's definitely, anyone watching in the stands, it's not just driving and turning left. It is definitely, you're racing the best of the best. I feel like the United Late Model Series that APC has presented has brought, I mean, like I would put them up there with the Pinty's guys, if not better. I mean, we've got a lot of talented drivers.
I've been involved with a bunch of different series, and I can tell you, and like I said, as a race promoter, there's no series in this country any tougher or better, in my opinion. And that's not a knock on anybody else. It's just, I've seen enough to be able to make that opinion as far as I'm concerned. It's tough.
I've never asked this question before, but Josh, I can hear like the passion in your voice about this sport when we're talking here today. And, you know, so my question is this, you know, with so many different sports available or things that a person can do, why motorsports for you? Like more specifically stock car racing, like what is it about this great sport?
Yeah, like I said before, you know, you grow up around it. There's something to be said. I can remember being 4 years old, and at that point, my dad was racing late model, the Molson X series it was. And the first thing that I did Saturday morning was, or Sunday morning, I guess they race Saturday nights, was I was out the front door and I was walking around the trailer. I was just mesmerized by the car. You know, my mom, she picked me and my older sister up, and we went and watched every race, and it stuck with me. It was just, I used to play AAA hockey competitive. I was in everything and anything, and I got my hands on motorsports, and I haven't looked back since. I just feel like there's such a bigger sense of accomplishment when you surround yourself with great people, and you're working on the thing, you know, 30, 40 hours. You can have 3 bad runs and think, you know, why do I do this? And then you come back and you lead that last lap and you get the checker flag. It does something to you. It's like, there's no other feeling that really describes it. You're surrounded by such great people. And, you know, in some respects, some of the competitors are just as happy. I mean, when I broke that ball joint at Sunset last year, It was like a damn funeral at my trailer. People are like, I don't even know what to say. They're hugging me. They're telling me, you know, and, it was like, yeah, you know, like, let's have a beer and like not talk about this. I'd rather, you know, but, yeah, it's got its lows, but it's definitely, when the highs are high, it's a feeling that you really can't replace.
Yeah, I agree. It's such a, it's like you say, it's hard to explain, but it brings in, it encompasses so many different parts of so many different sports. Like you say, I'm a hockey guy like yourself, and it's a tough, grueling sport. And I mean, and to be a super fan like Mark and to be a Sabres fan, how tough it is for a guy like him. But no, but you're so right
Kart
with
champion.
motorsport.
You forgot kart champion.
Oh yeah, you're a kart champion, and now you're kart. Maybe Josh will let you drive his backup car. But the lows are low. You're right, Josh. But the highs are so high, and there's so many small achievements that you can make, and it's such a team dominant sport. Yeah, and the fans and your team and everybody involved is just as passionate as you. And I think that's why it's just, it's hard to explain. People need to watch it more because it's incredible.
Yeah, it is. Like, I mean, when you get out of the car, and I think for me, it's that moment of like, I work, like I said, 15, 16-hour days. And then I've got 2 kids. I don't have a whole lot of time. I'm in the shop till 1 o'clock every night. I'm back up in the morning at 5. I mean, it's definitely exhausting. It has its tolls on you. But when you get out and you have a good run and you see the people that are standing and surrounding you and your family's involved, I mean, it's like, I am where I need to be right now, because I'm not worried about what my insurance payment was or my mortgage payment at this particular time or all the other bullshit in life that you got to deal with. So, yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is just the people that surround us, both with the marketing side of things and the team.
Yeah. And, you know, you've got 2 of your own kids now, and that's going to be so fun to be involved with them. But on the other side of that is, like you say, you hop out of a car and the fans come across the racetrack and some little kid comes up to you and thinks the world of you. And, you know, it's just, there's nothing better than that.
And that's ultimately what started this Ridgeline partnership. So Ridgeline is a company, or it's a Parkland corporation. So they own a bunch of oil and fuel businesses. And the guy was down at Flamborough and brought his 2 kids out. And I said, is this your first time? And they're like, yeah, this is our first time ever to a race. And I said, well, does the little guy want to jump in the car? And that's where the relationship started. And, I've always been a big fan of being, hands-on with the fans and giving them that sense of wanting to come back, because it is really special. There's a lot of people that come to a racetrack and say, I've never been there before. And it's like, I'm coming back every weekend. It's like, why didn't we do this 20 years ago? It's like, well, why didn't you do it 20 years ago? Like,
yeah, no, you're right. Good stuff. You know what that means, Josh?
Alex, you changed all the questions around this week.
I want to mix things up. Plus, I didn't think that Josh wanted to answer. I don't know, when we asked Joel what his favorite skirt was to wear or something. I mean, I don't know what that was.
Boy, I don't know. I think you're in trouble.
Fair. We got a racer. We got a racer with us today, man. We got to get the good questions. So, anyways, rapid fire. You know how that goes, Josh. We're going to ask you a question or make a statement. Mark or I, and you'll respond what comes to mind first, and see if we can get through this without Mark interrupting us.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try my best.
And if you've listened before, you'll know it's not me. Anyway, I'm starting off today, though. Okay, here we go. Josh, did you have a favorite driver growing up?
I did, yes. You want to know who it is?
Oh, now look at that. Yeah, he's fitting well on this show.
I mean, obviously, my dad was always my favorite. But, I was always a Brian Mack.
Ah, good one. Yeah.
Brian Mack fan.
Me too. I like him. He's a great guy. Race wins or championships? You already answered this, and I think I know the answer.
Race wins. I want to get a checker flag. I want the trophy.
Championships take care of himself if you win it.
That's right.
That's right. Hey, any superstitions prior to a race?
Yeah, it's almost in the way that my race day goes. If I have a good race, I try to manipulate my same day the following week, just the way, if you showered before you went to the track, stuff like that. And a certain way I tie my shoes. I always tie the left before the right. Stupid little things.
I thought I was the only one that did that, Alex.
Before
I have a left and right sock, and I can't get them wrong. Like, there's no way they're going on the wrong foot.
100%.
All right, go ahead, Alex.
Your best racing moment. I know you'll have more, but so far, your best racing moment.
My first win at Sunset was opening night in 2015. 32 cars showed up at the track, and we beat them all. That was something special. I raced Gary Jackson and Duane Baker for the last 5 laps, and I pulled ahead and won the race.
Tough company.
Wow, that's great. If you could try any type of race car that you haven't tried yet, what would it be?
I would say Pinty's in a race. I got to test one at Canadian Tire Motorsports. I'd love to race one if I ever get the opportunity, just to say I've done it.
Save your pennies.
Track.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, your favorite track.
My favorite track?
Yeah.
I do love Sunset. I've always done well there. There's just an atmosphere with having the pit lane, and it's so professional. It's just such a cool place to be at.
Is there one thing that your fans don't know about you that you'd like them to know?
No, I'm pretty open. I don't know if there's a whole lot more to me. I mean, I'm very passionate about the sport. I work hard. Yeah, that's they pretty well know everything about me, I think. If they don't, they can come down and ask me.
Your favorite car you've had so far, race car?
So my favorite car was that Howe car. It was a Howe car that we reclipped with Brian Mack. We put a Hampke front clip on it. And ever since we did that, the thing came to life. We always ran top 5 at Sunset when we traveled there. We won that opening night. And then I won 2 championships with it. And I actually got in a wreck with it, took the whole right side of the car, took 12 fence posts down. And we came back out the following long weekend. There was 3 races. We led every lap and won all 3 races. So I felt like it got faster once I wrecked it,
Where's that car now? Do you know?
I sold it to a guy in BC. He actually flew down. He rented a car, came and seen it, and we shipped it out there for him.
You get it back, buddy.
Yeah.
Hey, if you could change one thing in racing, what would it be?
my ball joint wouldn't have broke at the Sunset race last year.
Good one.
Yeah. Hey, Alex, you've had similar stories to that.
Oh yeah. Well, we all have for sure. It's, yeah, it's the worst. It's the worst, but you just got to move on, like you said, Josh, and that's all you can do. Your time will come.
Yeah, that's
Hobbies
right.
outside of racing.
So in the winter, I play hockey 3 times a week. I'm still pretty active with that. Other than that, I'm in the shop almost every night. And now with a young family, just trying to spend as much time with the family as I can when I can.
So Red Wings fan then?
My cousin used to play for the Red Wings, but I'm not a Red Wings fan.
Oh.
So Kirk Maltby was my cousin. He played for the Owen Sound Platers, and he won 4 Stanley Cups with the Detroit Red Wings, but I'm actually a Tampa Bay fan.
Ooh.
Good choice.
Do you want to talk about the game last week against the Leafs?
Ouch.
We already talked a bit about it in the intro, so.
Hey, Florida said the same thing the night after.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Like
okay, last question.
Like I said to Mark, like the Sabres games, no games mean anything right now.
That's right.
But it's better that they win them all. That's all. Family. Last question. One word.
Family love. I love my family. They've always been very supportive of me. I'm a middle only boy. We work together. We race together. We always have each other's back.
And a good family at that. I always enjoy spending time with you folks, that's for sure. Well, it's another episode of Driver in Deep. Mark, what do you think? I want to thank everybody for joining us. Thank you, Josh, for joining us. Hope everybody enjoyed it.
Yeah, best of luck this year, Josh. I really feel that a win's coming. And don't forget, everybody, to look for Josh on Facebook, Instagram, and Elon Musk's Twitter.
I love this
Talk is cheap. You're clear on that. Foot to the floor. There's only driver in deep.